Okay, it's ready.
All right.
You should be good. All right.
Hi, I'm Jan. Yes. And I'm going to attempt to make a little narration, a voiceover, over images that describe the indoor portion of my exercise life. It includes three major components: my in-bed, on the mattress, about a 3-minute routine. The other major part, and the most major part actually, is 8 minutes on an inversion table. And it involves wearing the right shoes, because there's a clamp that holds you at the ankle as you lay back on it and hang vertically completely, even slightly away from the actual table. And I have naturally a routine there, like I do in so many other parts of my life, but especially in my exercising life. So I'm hopefully just going to do the briefest thing I can, but still specific enough. So I hang. Now I hang for 5 counts of 20 seconds. And I try to keep the counts of the seconds, 1001, 1002, 1003. So the first 2 counts, I'm just hanging there passively. I'm kind of trying to allow the whole spine to release and decompress. Now for the next 2 counts of 20, I do a little bit of a twist from side to side, torso to pelvis. 10 counts to the right, 10 counts to the left, and then another set, 10 counts to the left, 10 counts to the right, and then the final 5th count, I go back to just hanging. Now, following that is one of the more stressful, but still very light. I kind of call it a mini crunch routine. I think I do it to a count of 20 again, but not in seconds. I just count 1, 2, 3. So in these crunches, my main emphasis is to do a slight abdominal crunch and then releasing my lower back into an arch. So these are small little things, but it's to deal with the sacral portion of the spine primarily. I keep my head still hanging and so forth. All right, now after that, it becomes specifically the cervical spine, the head, the neck. And I use a method that's called, I guess, stress and release. It's a biological fact that the muscles release better if they're first contracted. So that it has a medical term. So anyway, I push in the back of my head, and then I release it and actually add arm pressure to pull it, to extend it more. I do the same thing front to back, and I do the same thing side to side, and I even do it on a twist of the head. Near the back of the skull, I push and push and push to a count of 15 this time, and then releasing, pushing my jaw for a count of 5, and then twist down and twist up, and the same thing on the other side. Now comes one of the heaviest portions of my job. I hope I'm correct now. I can not really remember. I do the major crunches. I do the minor crunches before the head stuff, yeah, and the cervical exercise, yeah. Now I do the major crunches. This is where I actually lift crunch my whole abdominal muscular area to lift my body, about 12 inches off the table. I mean, I'm not really touching the table at any time. I'm hanging free. And then again, going down and again releasing in the sacral portion of and this I do 20 times. Finished with that, breathing a little heavy, now I do an arching. I put my hands on the floor, still hanging upside down, and put the hands out in front of me so that I can kind of arch a little bit. I mean, I'm an old person, my spine is not that flexible, but I feel it. You may not see it, but it is there. Then I bring myself into a horizontal position and spend probably a minute or two to reorient the blood circulatory system. In the old days when I was younger, I could just turn myself from vertical to horizontal to hanging vertical to standing vertical, because my circulatory system was more robust, But now I have to wait. Otherwise, I have experienced dizziness and stuff like that. And now that I'm vertical, I can unclamp. Oh, yes, there I do my final series of exercises that I bends forward, bending 3/4 to the side, bending 3/4 to the other side, bending forward and bending forward and bending forward, and then reaching down to the clamps at my ankles and just hold myself there. The crunch is not muscular. It's all flexibility. It's all release. Finally, I undo the clamps and I stand up and get out of the triangular structure. Very well built. I've had it for more than 15 years. And it was, of course, recommended to me by a physiotherapist and also a yoga instructor and also a chiropractor, all in one person. When I went for probably 5 years, every week down to Chinatown to have I think a $30 session there for an hour. And the outdoor exercise is radically different. The indoor stuff is flexibility. So the in-bed thing is where I lie. Supine, I do believe, is lying face up. And that's the beginning. I do these little arches for a count of 20. Then I bring my knees up, and then I do what I call the windshield wipe, going 20 times side, 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 side. And I also do, prior to that, I've done ankle rotations in both directions. Now I go prone. And there, I actually repeat the very same exercise, but, obviously it feels a little different when doing the arching. I mean, it's small. I mean, you can barely see it, but I can feel it. I can tell you, I can feel it. And then I do the windshield again with my the lower part of my leg up in the air, my knees on the ground, on the bed, and swipe it back and forth like a windshield. And then 2 sets of ankle rotations again, one in each direction. So that finishes that. Now, there is a third aspect of my in-house indoor routine. It's not really a routine so much. Often enough, before I go out and do my outdoor routine, I will do some of that same type of crunching and side swiping, and it's a curling routine that really strengthens the abdominal portion of the sacral spine. And then and I do a big twist and stretching the hamstring. I do this on a Pilates mat that I've had for God knows how long. But I also have a little podium of 2 Mexican blankets that I inherited from my parents, and sometimes I sit there in the sun, especially in the wintertime, and just try to calm myself. Sometimes before I do my self-interviews on video. So those are the 3 parts of my indoor exercise. There's some equipment also involved. I sometimes use Arnica relief oil on body parts. If I have a creak in the knee or in the ankle or in the neck or whatever, I rub that in there and I massage it as heavily as I can. I use the little massage handheld device that will bring more circulation to the area, blood circulation. And there's one other thing that I did more often than now. It's like a bean bag. You place it on top of your head and you walk around. You're standing erect and you walk around. This gives you a feeling of how to keep your body erect. The head, the shoulder, the hip, the ankle. Because if you don't stand erect, the beanbag will fall off. Okay, I just want you to know that indoors I have other things that are important. I have a humidifier in the wintertime, and at all times I have an air cleaner and 2 other types of air cleaners. 3 things that work all year long. All right, so that's my story indoors. Oh, well, it's one other thing, to help your spine staying erect. I do use, and I have been using for also 15 years, a kneeling chair. A kneeling chair is a chair without a back. This makes you more aware of, you can still slump a little in a backless kneeling chair, but it makes me more aware of the slump. All right, I think that covers most of the stuff that I have to deal with indoors in terms of taking care of my body. And the outdoor exercise is radically different. The indoor stuff is more flexibility, decompression, and spine work, actually. And outdoors, it's completely cardiovascular.
Gotcha.